Right, next segment here on the show. We're gonna dip into the NFL draft. Now we're almost there. We're a couple weeks away from the NFL draft. As it stands right now, Tennessee still has the first pick, so nothing has changed in that regard. But obviously, a lot of things could happen now until then. Tennessee's rumored to maybe move the pick or stuff like that, but there's a lot to be discussed. Darrell. I'm gonna let you start it off. What are you thinking about the draft? What are you players team? What's your first thoughts here?
My first thought is all this talk about Shedeur Sanders, his attitude, his jewelry, all these things that are talked about. And again, I'm not a Sanders homer or anything like that. But one of the things that these talking heads do, they start spewing out stuff, good, bad, or indifferent. And I think a lot of it is driven by these organizations, right? I think some teams are saying, "Hey, put this out there, put this out there." They want to jockey and move around as well. So why wouldn't you manipulate most the easiest group of people to manipulate, and that's the media. So I don't know how much of it is true or not. I just kind of watched and I saw guys play during the season, and I felt like, from a playing perspective, I felt like from a quarterback, Shedeur and Cam Ward, I liked Shedeur more than I liked Cam Ward. That doesn't mean I'm some quarterback guru. I just liked him more. And the reason why I say that is for two reasons. One is I saw many games where Cam, they're at 21 points. He's still in the game, throwing deep, right? Throwing deep. Also, I saw Sanders holding the ball to protect his completion percentage, right? So there's manipulation on both sides. Neither are a stellar great athlete of Michael Vick prowess, but I think it depends on where they both go. I just don't believe that Cam Ward, who was a fourth round grade last year, in the last year's draft, skyrockets four rounds and is the number one player. If I'm taking one player, I'm taking my man Abdul Carr from Penn State. I believe he's the
Yep.
best player in college football. That's my thought, right? Regardless of position, I think Abdul Carr is the best player in football. Close right behind is Travis Hunter.
So for me, I don't mind both. I think Shedeur is getting a little too much hate. I kind of agree, Darrell. I think he's going to be good. I don't. I'm not going to say he's going to be great. He's this, and this. I think he can be good. I think he can be solid. I do think, for me, I think it's a toss up. You can have either or. I don't think neither one outshines the other one by so much to where it's not even close. If Tennessee takes Ward first, I wouldn't be mad. If they took Shador first, I wouldn't be mad. I
Right.
think the big thing for me is it seems like it's pretty clear now that New York's going to take Travis Hunter, especially if he doesn't. If Cleveland does not take Travis Hunter, I think it's pretty clear at this point New York's going to take Travis Hunter, or maybe Abdul Carter, or maybe Cleveland does it. I don't know, but I think New York is not taking a quarterback. I think after getting Jameis and now getting Russ, there's no way they draft a rookie quarterback in the first round. Maybe they
Right.
trade, maybe they do it in the second, maybe they do it in the third, but I don't think there's a chance they do it at that moment. This really, it seems like it's all setting up for Las Vegas to get Shedeur, and that was originally where I thought he was going to go anyways. Was Las Vegas, and I think that's what it's setting up to be as. I did see a rumor. I don't. It wasn't from a reputable source, but I did see that Cleveland wants to try and get Dak. And obviously, as a Cowboys fan, I want Dak gone. Not because I don't think Dak's bad. I've just seen the same game over and over again. So I wouldn't be mad at it, and I wouldn't be mind taking a quarterback. And if Shedeur doesn't pan out, oh well. But that one, it's like take it with a grain of salt. We'll see if it happens. I don't think it will, but back on New York, I don't think they take a quarterback. I think Shedeur is going to end up in Las Vegas.
I think Cam Ward's the best quarterback in the draft, and it's not even close.
Okay, okay, okay. So we got a little
I
bit of
think I,
disagreement.
I think Deion Sanders is by far the best marketing agent, manager, CEO ever in the history of a sport. Uh, we look at Shador and we talk about the intangibles, and I've never in my life, and I've been a football guy forever, seen someone be thought about being the first pick overall based on intangibles only, because his arm strength is not very strong. He's not very fast. He's not very big. So none of his measurables are there as a number 1 draft pick. It's all intangibles. All right. So I compare him, and I'm going to get some flack. He reminds me, he's a Brock Purdy type cat. He can control the offense. You put targets around him, he's going to do well. But I don't know if he's got that jump on my back and let me lead you. Now, we talk about things he did on the field. A lot of his plays came from broken plays, unscripted, off-script plays. We've seen another quarterback a year ago who had the same type of off-script plays all the time that we loved and wild, and he sucks right now in the NFL.
Caleb?
In Chicago, yeah, he's bad.
I don't think. I wouldn't say. I think
He's
it's just.
bad.
I don't think it was. I think it was the O-line, and I was just about to say this. I think Chicago had the best offseason so far. Obviously, the draft includes that. I think
they had
Chicago,
the best offseason last year too. Everyone was talking about the offseason last year. Here's the second year talking about offseason.
I think this offseason was better because Chicago was going to be bad anyways because all the problems everyone was talking about was the O-line. So I can't blame Caleb too much because the team was not fully put together. When you don't have an O-line, you're not going to win. It's simple as that. In Kansas City,
that offensive line was bad, but it wasn't as bad as we thought it was. Caleb holds the ball extremely long. He's
a rookie, so he's a rookie.
He doesn't check down. I mean, we got a lot of excuses for him.
I don't think that's an excuse.
We gave him all this praise.
I think. What if you say this? We're talking about rookie quarterbacks, right? And I've seen rookie quarterbacks who have horrible first season, and they come back and go crazy. Drew Bledsoe, for instance, the year he and Rick Meyer came out, a lot of people thought Rick Meyer from Notre Dame was going to blow the roof off in Seattle versus. But I'm saying, talking from a comparison, right? From a guy who started off strong and who I think was rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year in the AFC, to a guy 4 years later was a journeyman, right? I think this year will make the difference because that 1 year is that growing year and that newness. Let's see what happens. And again, I'm not a big Williams guy, similar to Ramon, but let's see what happens this year. You got the linemen, you got this great offseason. What's your excuse now?
Yep.
You've got the receivers, so there's no excuse now.
No,
so
if
he doesn't ball out, there's going to be whispers, right? So now all of a sudden, maybe that dynamic is there. And again, I wouldn't be opposed to having a guy, i.e. Brock Purdy, on my team. And here's why I say that. Because if Brock Purdy doesn't get hurt in the NFC Championship game 3 years ago against Philadelphia when he hurt his forearm, they beat Philly to go to the Super Bowl, right? They had the backup came in, and then, of course, they didn't win. But I'm interested to see where Shedeur and Cam Ward go and how they first come out the gates. I'm really curious. And I think to your point, Ramon, there's nothing but intangibles talked about with Shedeur. There's no talk of his arm strength, his speed. They talk about his lineage, his bloodline, and those are all great things, right? But that bloodline isn't going to help him when it's 3rd and 8 and he's got an edge rusher breathing down his throat. What do you do, right? That's what's going to be the difference, and what I believe, right? And we'll see what happens. But I don't know that there's a big gap between he and Cam. I mean, Ramon, obviously you disagree. I think Cam is more a polished player. I think from a structure perspective. But let's see what happens. There's been a lot of guys who had really good structure, and they kind of fizzle out. But we'll see what happens with those two for sure, sooner rather than later.
What?
I think.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go. You go.
I look at this draft and I see a lot of people projected it very high, and I think it's more media hype than actually what they got going on. All right, running back in Boise State. I don't think he's the best running back in the draft. I think he may be the 4th best running back in the draft.
In my opinion, has changed. I remember when we did our first
we talked about that. Yeah,
my opinion has changed, but I think it's also changed because we've added running backs. We have signed running backs. We as in the Cowboys. So I don't think we're going to take a running back now, which.
I just look at the positions. I think it's a lot of hype into it. I hate to say this. I hate 100% to say this. I don't think Travis Hunter is the best cornerback in the draft. I think the young man over at that team up north that I hate is the best cornerback in the draft.
Will Johnson. And he can play. And he had no fanfare. I give you that. no fanfare. All he did was balled out, right? And he's right. That dude balled out not Saturday after Saturday after Saturday. I just think that when people see Travis Hunter, they see a guy that's a Swiss Army knife, right? I
Yep.
think that's the thing that takes him up that level, right? And based off of, think about this, he was the top corner coming out of high school, goes to Jackson State, and from that perspective, from him leaving high school to now, he hasn't disappointed, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I think. What puts him over that top from the
Can
top
you
corner to be picked.
can you name me? Can you name me the top receivers that he played against in his years in college?
I'm with you there. I can't, and I'm not going. I'm not going. I can't.
So to me, you can never be the best when you ain't never played against the best.
Ramon, you said you think this draft is all media. Are you referring to the whole class or just the top players
No,
in the?
I think the class is talented.
Okay, I was gonna say. I think the
order,
class is really talented, though. Yeah.
I think the order is gonna be based on a lot of the media hype. When
Okay.
like, dude,
Gotcha. Okay.
it's cats that may be better than you.
I think these NFL guys are smarter than that, right? I think they not listen to Mel Kiper and these guys. I think they've got their own minds made up. Well, those guys are for us. The Mel Kipers and those they're for us. They're not for the NFL guys. Like, I don't know what y'all talking about. And you're right, Ramon. Hell, it wouldn't shock me if Shedeur is the 22nd player pick. It wouldn't shock me, but it wouldn't also shock me if he goes to the Giants at 3 or to the Raiders at 6. It wouldn't. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It wouldn't shock me either or, right?
Yeah.
And you're talking about running backs, and that's the thing, right? All it takes is one team to say you're the guy we want, right? And it doesn't take all 30 teams. So 32 teams. So I'd be interested to see, behind the scenes conversation that teams are having that in that between that 3 and 8, right? Because you got Jacksonville is not going to get a quarterback. You got the Raiders who need one. You got the Jets who I still say the Jets, they don't still need somebody else. Then you got Carolina who doesn't. Saints do. You've got the Patriots don't. The Giants do in Cleveland. I think Shedeur, if he doesn't get picked at 6, I think he's going to have a meteoric fall. If everything stays the same.
You said something interesting. You said that you looked at Cam Ward. I don't see how he has a 4th round grade one year and the number 1 pick the next year, right? I do, because this quarterback draft is terrible.
Okay, you got me. That's the only thing, right? You got me. You got me 100%. But do you put that much into a guy though who jumped from 4th round grade all the way to 1? That's why if I'm Tennessee, I'm not taking him. If I'm Tennessee, I'm not taking him.
With him, you've seen from when he was at Incarnate or whatever he was at, then Washington State, then Miami. Yeah. You've seen some incredible jumps with him. You've seen some crazy jumps. All right. So to me, that's more appealing, possibly. Could I get one more jump out of him to a superstar? I don't know. When you look at Shedeur, his father reminds me of an AAU father, Dion. He perfectly placed his son in certain places where it was going to be very, very, the rate of success is going to be extremely high.
Manageable. He put him in manageable situations, what you tell. Yes. I know exactly where you're going because I've seen it at the AAU side, so I know where you're going.
Now you're about to go somewhere where you can't manage this. It's should have get off the pot.
Right.
And so I think that Shedeur is a good football player, a really good football player. I don't think he's a great or a program or organizational must. I gotta have this guy. I don't think he's that.
No.
Right.
I just hope that he can manage that when he gets there and be like,
right,
yeah, I'm a game manager. I'm not a star. I'm a game manager because he's been told he's a star for a bazillion of years.
And his persona is that, right? So what? Guess what happens when you have that welcome to the NFL moment, right? He could go one of two ways. He could say, you know what? It's time to really grind now.
It's time to really grind.
Or he could say, you know what? I ain't ready for this, and I know me, and this ain't gonna work. right? So that's what I see in those. So again, like I say, if he doesn't go to Vegas at 6, and barring any trades or any moving up or moving down,
Seattle?
uh,
Well, I guess you're saying. I mean, he would drop all the way down to 18, so I guess it's still a drop.
18.
But Seattle's the only other team that in
Well,
would.
they got Sam Darnold. What are you talking?
Oh
Sam
crap!
Darnold's
Yeah, they
only
did.
he's only in year
I
7 or 8.
totally
You
spaced
you
that.
you know
Yeah.
where CBS Sports has him?
Who?
CBS Sports got him at pick 26 to the Rams.
No, I don't see that happening though.
That'd be again. He could again. It could be a meteoric drop, man. It could. I mean, it could. I could see that in that 26, range. I mean, you got Pittsburgh at 21. You've got the Rams at 26. You got
Does anyone
Detroit,
trade up?
Washington, Buffalo.
Does anyone
Yeah,
trade
I
up?
mean, he'll be a second round pick if there's no trading up. Because if you look at the bottom team from 27 to 32, all of them have their quarterback.
Yep.
Okay, so let me ask this because I'm looking at all the other quarterbacks in this draft. So I'm gonna bring up two quarterbacks that played in the SEC. If we're talking about these teams that don't take a quarterback, I'm gonna name three quarterbacks. Who would you take if you don't take Shedeur or Cam Ward in the first
But
round? Okay, I'm gonna
before
give
you
you
say
three.
before you say their name, I'm gonna write. I gotta find me a pen. I'm gonna write down who. All right, got my in my mind. Go ahead. I write my down right now.
Okay,
You
write
know
them
who
down.
I'm
All
taking.
right. I've got
I
I've
know
got
who you're
I've got
taking
it
'cause I'm
ready.
about to name them.
I've got it.
Okay,
Go
so
ahead.
I'm going in order. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go. Should I just go down the line with everyone that's in the draft?
No,
No, I'm
no,
just gonna
no, go to 3. I'm
do
gonna pull
three.
my paper up real quick. Yeah,
Do
go ahead.
three.
Do
Okay.
your 3.
Okay. First. Okay. So we've got Jalen Milrow.
Yep.
We've got Will Howard,
Mm-hmm.
and then we've got Quinn Ewers.
Wow. You didn't say the guy I'm thinking.
Who?
Jackson Dart.
No, I don't
Oh.
like Dart. I don't like
Jackson Dart. That's the
I don't
guy I'm
like
thinking.
Dart.
Listen, I'm not saying he's a game changing guy, but I got a feeling something about Jackson Dart, man. I don't like him. I didn't like his moxie, but when he played against my boys, he stood there.
He
He
did.
took
Yeah.
hit after hit, and he came back. He talked blank the whole game, and he played and he balled out.
Okay.
My guy, after Shedeur and Ward, I like Jackson Dart, man. I'll
Okay.
admit I like Jackson Dart.
Who do you, Ramon? What are you
Like
thinking?
I like Jackson Dart as the number 2 quarterback in the NFL draft.
Okay, so
We didn't
CBS.
practice this, by the way. We didn't practice this. I'm telling you.
No,
I
I
like
the
Jackson.
number
So
2
so
quarterback in
so
the
I'm
NFL
gonna go.
draft.
So this is what not. It's what is it? Pro Football Focus PFF.
Yeah.
So their rankings is Cam Ward 1, Shedeur Sanders 2, Jalen Milrow 3, Will Howard 4, Riley Leonard at 5, Jackson Dart at 6, Dylan Gabriel at 7, and then Quinn Ewers at 8, and then Kyle McCord at 9.
I say you stop at 5. I say you stop at 5. The rest of those guys are day 3 guys.
I really like Ewers. I've always liked Ewers. Ewers reminds me a lot of Herbert. Obviously, Herbert went in the first round. Ewers is not. He's got the arm. I think if you let Ewers sit for a year or two, I think Ewers could really be good. I'm not saying he's a Pro Bowler, but I think he could be really solid. I think he could be a solid quarterback for any team. I really love
much
Ewers.
matters. So much matters where these guys go, man. Nowadays, man.
It does.
So
it
much
really
matters
does.
where it goes, right? And then for me, you spoke about Milrow. Of course, I'm biased towards Milrow a little bit, but also you got to be honest about it, right? Yeah, he has a nice deep ball. But one of the things about Jalen was last year, not seeing up close and in person, he was on a mission to prove everybody wrong.
Yeah.
Just play the game, man. He was so quick to want to stay in the pocket and play in times where he probably should have left, right? I'm talking about the pocket, that is. And then there were times like, I'm a quarterback. I get it. You just play the game, manage the game, and was being delivered to you. He was so fixated in proving people wrong, and that's what I believe hurt him last season in some areas, especially in the Oklahoma game, when they can muster 3 points. I think just play within the framework, man. I think he was trying to prove people wrong and say I'm that guy, and I think that kind of messed him up a little bit.
It's kind of crazy to me that Milrow is so low, but Richardson was rated so high. Because to me, To me, I think Milroe is a better player. I think Milroe could have been in that same spot as Richardson. What was it, 2 years ago now? It obviously
Yeah,
I don't know. It doesn't add up to me that
I think
Milroe is not up at least somewhere at the end of the first round. If Richardson was at the top of the first, I know
but I
quarterback
think
needs
the
is a thing.
athleticism, all the athleticism of Richardson, right? All the somersault, the flip, you saw all the
Is
stuff that he
Milroe
was
not
doing.
as athletic?
Well, no, he's not that guy, right? But what I'm saying is, when you got a guy like Richardson, AR-15, who's played 11 games in college, you make him the fourth player picked on your team, and you don't put somebody behind him to support him and challenge him. I'm not saying the guy is a quitter or anything like that. I just think the coach managed this completely terribly bad, and I think they're reaping the benefit of that now because they're probably looking at another quarterback.
What do you,
And not just from the kid from the Giants, but I'm talking about maybe looking at another quarterback in the draft.
Ramon? What do you think of Milroe?
I think Milroe's a great player. I think he's an awesome second round, third round draft pick.
Okay.
I think he
That's
has.
what I'd have him.
I think he has the potential to be very, very good. But I don't think it's there yet. And I don't know if you spend the money. But I don't know if you spend the money on any of these quarterbacks this year, because I think they all are like they're benefiting. And I hate to go back to the Coach Sanders, but he kept his son out of the last year's draft for a reason.
Yeah.
Because he knew this year's draft, like, I got a shot. I can
Yeah.
manipulate this. This ain't deep at quarterback. Everybody want a quarterback.
Yeah.
We can go high here. If
Yeah.
if I'm looking at four quarterbacks in this draft that I think can be really, really good. All right. Really, really good. Not great, really, really good. I think Cam Ward can be really, really good.
Yep.
I think Shedeur could be really, really good, depending on the situation he goes to.
Right place.
Yes.
He's got to go to the right place. And not only the right offense, but the right locker room and the right organization that can put up with his daddy.
Is the Raiders the best? Would the Raiders
Pete
fail
Carroll.
him?
Pete Carroll. I'm looking at Pete Carroll. Yeah, because Pete Carroll's safe.
Okay.
Giants coach isn't safe. Cleveland's coach not necessarily. So out of the top six, you got the Raiders coach is most safe.
Cleveland could take a quarterback. I didn't think about that.
So-
Ramon, what were the other two quarterbacks? I'm sorry.
So hold on, but with Shedeur, what organization can take when Shedeur doesn't start and the one does bad, and Deion's in the media like my son should be starting. He's the best quarterback in that city.
Right.
How's that going to disrupt? Who's going to galvanize that organization? Be like, yeah, he and his media talking crazy, but we're still who we are.
Do you think he's going to be worse than LeVar?
I don't think he'll be worse than LeVar because LeVar was kind of like in your face. I think Deion is so slick with what he's going to say.
Okay.
But people are going to be affected by it.
Okay.
Who are the other two quarterbacks?
Who are the other two?
I think Dart is really, really good. And I think as much as I like Milrose at Alabama, I think Will Howard, if he goes to the right place, can be really, really good. Okay. I think Will Howard at Pittsburgh will be dynamic.
That's a good pick. I was just going to say, we got 4 minutes left in this meeting. Do we want to start a new one and continue? Because we've only talked about the quarterbacks.
Yeah. No, I think this is good, man. I think it's we've hit a lot of pieces today, right? And I think we can just, we've got the Zoom, we can carry on to other things. It doesn't have to be stuck on one day. We can pick back up Thursday. We want to have a segment on that, or we can do a pre-draft segment, and we have maybe some trades would have happened, right? And then we'll say we can shake it out a little bit.
Last thing, what do you want to happen on draft day? Like what's one thing that you want to see happen? The first thing I'm gonna say, I'm giving mine out right now. Dak gets traded to Cleveland or Tennessee, and we take Shedeur or Cam. I don't care which one it is. Let's just take one. If it doesn't work, we can restart, and I have no problem restarting. I just want a refresh. Let's hit the refresh button. Let's be done.
I want chaos
too.
I want lots of trades.
Give me one thing though. Give me like one thing.
I want the Steelers to trade up and go for broke.
Okay.
They've been mired in mediocrity at 21 this year. They're going to be middle of the road. They're not going to be in position to get a top end quarterback. I would like to see the Steelers do something that the Steelers never do. trade up and go get the guy you want.
Yeah. Ramon?
I would like to see the Jets draft Trayvon Henderson and then Captain Jack and bring all my Buckeyes together.
Okay.
Shocking, right? But no, I think
Okay.
but I think we all want a little. We want more than chalk, right? We don't
Yeah.
want chalk. We want some things to be shook up, and it starts at the top. It really does start at the top, But maybe the next conversation we can talk about guys like Abdul Carter,
Yep.
who I think is going to be a hell of a player. And a few others, right? We talked about safeties. That Malachi Starks, man. He was very impressive these last 2 years too. So I think we can get a little bit deeper into the players when we hit the quarterbacks. I think we can get deeper into players the next time around.
I would like to see.
We got to get a name for this podcast.
I would love
Ramon,
to
go
see
ahead.
Cleveland. I would love to see Cleveland draft your boy from Penn State and terrorize quarterbacks. Him and old boy.
Yeah. Man, can you on each end? That would be something. Because he's in play. He's in play.
All right, I'll ask.
He's in play.
We've got under 2 minutes. I'll ask one more thing. One more thing. Where does Travis Hunter go? Last choice. Where is he going? I'm gonna lock it in right now, and I'm going to say New York. I was set on New England, but New York's signed 2 quarterbacks for a good amount of money. I'm gonna say New York. I think they take him.
I'm saying he's going to Jacksonville.
Okay, so you think he gets past? Wow. Okay, you think he goes past New England?
Yep.
What do you think, Ramon?
I think he's gonna be in Cleveland.
Okay. All right.
Well, at 2. Okay. All right.
Okay.
We'll track our picks, right?
Yeah.
And I think what we could do, right, as we can put some work in, and we got 32 picks, right?
Yep.
So let's see who gets the closest, right?
Let's
see where we go. Now, mind you, all trades bets are off, right? With the trades, bets are off.
Yeah. Well, that's gonna do it.
Right,
we will have these uploaded throughout the week, but that's gonna do it for this one, y'all. Thank you guys for watching.